Be clear in your mind in what you intend to achieve. Know what you are going to do. That doesn't seem like too much to ask. But how often do we see people going through their lives without knowing what they are trying to do, without having any intent, without having a clear mission? I'm talking on an individual level. As a person, people go through their lives without knowing what it is they want to do, what they want to accomplish. Know what your mission is. Know what your intent as the commander of your life. Know what your intent is, and then fight with everything you've got to win.
Nobody's going to come knocking at your door with opportunities. You got to create them. Out of sight, out of mind. We talked about this before. Out of sight, out of mind. No one will ever have you in mind for anything unless you have yourself in mind for it. Get on people's radars. That's it. Got to interact, socialize, get around the right people. Out of sight, out of mind, people. I can't tell y'all enough. What is the plan? Any man with no plan shall perish. What is the idea? What is the vision? What is it? What's happening? What's going on in your mind that the world needs to experience?
Write the vision and make it plain, so that he who reads it will run to it. And even though it tarry, that means take a long time, wait for it, for surely it will come at an appointed time. Listen to me. That's real. If you don't think it's real, I dare you to try it. Write everything you want on a piece of paper. Everything. Use your wildest imagination. If you can think it, you can achieve it. Write it on a piece of paper. Read it every morning and every night. Come back here 1 year from today and see how much of that stuff then came true. You have to write it. If it's not written, you reduce your chances greatly of it ever occurring.
Listen to what I'm saying, people. You are the future. I do not want you to start thinking as small as your bank account. Be obedient to the visions, the ideas. Move on them. Out of sight, out of mind. It's grind season. It's hustle season. I need to awaken the beast inside of you. The world is an empty canvas waiting on new thoughts to think. And it's on us to create those thoughts. It is your responsibility to be obedient to God's visions. What's taking you so long to move on it? Put your money together. Budget your money. Make the move. Make the move. Just do it. And guess what? If you hit a wall, get your ass back up and keep going. I've made it this far from hearing way more no's than I've heard yeses. But I'm not afraid of the word no.
One underneath the other. Just let your dreams run free here. Not what you think you can get, but what you want. If everything fell into place, you could have whatever you wanted the next 10 years, what would that be? Little things, major things, insignificant things, doesn't matter. Just make the list.
I got to tell y'all something. The real reality is this. When you decide what you want to do for your life and your career, when God sends you a vision, a bold vision and confirmation around that book you were supposed to write, anything, it's going to be your family and friends and loved ones to be the first ones to try and talk you out of greatness. Because why? They were never sent that vision. They were never sent that idea. They were never sent that concept. As a matter of fact, if you try and explain it, they're still not going to get it. Because you see the invisible. You see what's not there. Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible. You have to be able to see what's not there in order to pull off the impossible.
3 major parts of personal development. Number 1 is physical part. Part of success is physical. Some people don't do well because they don't feel well. One of the first things to go to work on with intensive effort, and that's your own good health. Because a lot of things come from that. You know, the future possibilities could be greatly diminished by being lazy in producing maximum health. If you'll take care of that as a support system, you can't believe what else is possible. You can't believe what the mind can think of. You can't believe your imagination and your faith and your ability to say, hey, I'll go to work and produce the muscle to do the deal. Why? I'm healthy. I'm vigorous. I'm vital. I'm not out of breath. But sometimes, when all these ideas and stuff comes and, you're a little bit too weak to even attempt, you say, oh, I'm not sure I can do that. The doubts sometimes are more physical than they are mental. You haven't got the vitality to believe it's possible. But if you've got the vitality and the strength and you've got the health to do it, I'm telling you, ideas seem to love to be invested in healthy people that have got the ability and the ambition to pull it off. They got the health to do it. They got the strength to do it. So why not start with the health and see if your own vitality would inspire you to more imagination? Because now when you imagine, you can pull it off. But if you can't pull it off, why imagine? The imagination says, why to go to work and spin all of these goals and stuff when the body isn't ready to produce? So start with physical. It's very important. Now here's some good ideas. There's scripture that says this, treat your body like a temple. Excellent phrase. A temple meaning something you take extremely good care of. Treat your body like a temple, not a woodshed. Here's why. The body and the mind work together. The body and the physical and the health is a support system for the mental that can dream, that can think, that can ponder, that can wonder, that can design, that can believe, that can have the spirit, and all that's possible in terms of emotional content. But now, since the mind and the body work together, you got to take care of the body as a support system. One wise man said, sometimes the spirit is willing, but the body is weak. See, that's a sad combination, a willing spirit and a weak body. Sad. You wake up in the morning, right? The mind says, let's go get him. The body says, I can't even get out of bed. So have a talk with yourself and say, this is the last time I'm going to be out of breath. This is the last time I will lack the vitality to pull off my dreams. Because sure, the dream factory will shut down if you haven't got the vitality and the energy and the health to pull it off. So start taking care. Now here's the key to be conscious of self, but not self-conscious. You just got to take care. The next generation gets a little weaker. Now the family foundation is starting to be weakened, which now weakens the nation because the nation is built up of strong family foundations. Now here's the third part. First is physical, second is spiritual, third is mental. Some key phrases on the mental part. First, the mind must be nourished. Food for thought. Bread for the head. Yes, you need a slice of toast in the morning, right, for your body, but you need a slice of cassette you put in the car system and listen and listen. Let something feed your mind. Here's what I teach in one of the other seminars on the mind, and that is stand guard at the door of your mind. Don't just listen to anything and everything. Make sure that you're your own best filter of what goes into your mental factory and spins out the fabric of your life and future. Stand guard at the door of your mind. Spend time. Be a selective listener. But you got to have a good diet, a good mental diet. When you walk into a home and walk into the pantry of the kitchen, you take a look what's in there. This family's either going to be healthy or it isn't going to be healthy. A lot depends on what's in the cupboard. What you bring home, right, from the grocery store that you feast on for the body. Now here's what's important. A proper menu for the mind to make sure that it's got a wide range of nourishment. Because the mind needs the full education. The education of the dangers of life as well as the possibilities of life. Life consists of really two major things. One is avoiding the dangers and taking advantage of the opportunities. That's what life is all about. Avoiding the dangers and taking advantage of the opportunities. Now, by education, you've got to be able to see both, where somebody points out to you, these are the dangers, these are the possibilities. And if you keep refining your ability to see the dangers, to avoid as many as possible, and to see as many opportunities as possible, and to maximize those as you go and refine and go produce and refine, now that starts to develop the foundation for what we call a good life, a productive life, a fulfilled life. And we need this mental input so that you'll have mental food to feast on long after the lights are out and we've left the premises. Now, we also need mental exercise. We talked about debate earlier. That's good mental exercise. Is it or isn't it? Here's what's important. To debate with yourself. To look at both sides of the issue. You must be a student of tragedy as well as triumph. You must be a student of ill as well as good. Ideas. Learning to debate with yourself what's good, what's bad, what's good for you, what isn't good for you. Keep your mind vigorous. Study evil as well as good. You need a good library. And in this library, you need all kinds of diversity. You need a book on Gandhi and you need a book on Hitler. Gandhi to show you how high and lofty someone's ambitions that are noble can go, and the other one to show you how despicable and low someone can sink in terms of pure evil embodied in a human. Don't be afraid of the debate. Don't be afraid of the health debate. Don't be afraid of the religious debate, the spiritual debate. Don't be afraid for something you believe in to be challenged, because that's where the vigor and the flourishing of something is. It survives the debate. If it survives the debate, it's a pretty good idea. Okay, mental exercises. So, feed the mind, debate, exercise, a continual diet. Can't go too long in between the classes and the schools and the seminars and the sermons where things are being taught of value. Here's what else is important. You got to go to everything you can afford. Have a good plan, weekly plan, monthly plan to go to a variety of things, go to a variety of things, go to a variety of things. And don't miss the chance. Even if you're involved in a certain company and they say, we're going to have a training class, you say, I've been to one of those. I'm asked, you got to go again, and you got to go again. You can't get it all the first time. When they call a little training class, make sure you're there. Here's why. Some of them are going to be life-changing. And you don't know which experience is going to be life-changing. You can't pick the one. You just got to go, 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 go. One is life-changing. You go again, you go again, you go again. Another one is life-changing. For the people that were there, somebody that you met, something that you heard, and that one was just perfect. The atmosphere was right, the crowd was right, and everything was right, and you'll never be the same again. And you don't know which one that's going to be. That's why you've got to pursue. Go often. Have a good plan for the search of knowledge and ideas that can inspire to the best of your potential. So now we've got the physical, we've got the spiritual, we've got the mental parts of personal development. Don't live in the past, and don't carry the past around like a burden, but simply use your past as one of your mentors to help refine mistakes, make some changes that you can invest now in the future. Here's the second attitude. It's how you feel about the future. We look back for experience, but number two, we look forward for inspiration. Take some time and decide what you want. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do the next 10 years, 20 years? How about the people you want to meet, the cities you want to visit, experiences you'd like to have over this next period of time? Here's the next key. Write it all down. Building a life is like building a house. You wouldn't start building the house until you had it finished. So I'm asking you not to be casual anymore. Start designing the future for yourself, for your family, for your business. Okay? Decide what you want. So from the past we get experience, from the future we get excitement. Now here's the next advice. Put everything on your list of goals. Little things, insignificant to someone else but important to you. So set goals. Set the goals that'll turn you on, goals that'll get you excited. Put everything on your list. Now, here's the next attitude. It's very important how you feel about everybody. If you want to be a leader extraordinaire, here's what you learn. Each of us need all of us. One person doesn't make an economy. One person doesn't make a symphony orchestra. Each of us need all of us, and all of us need each of us. Each gift is important as we bring it to the table, as we bring it to the community. Now here's the last one on attitude. It's how you feel about yourself. Nothing more powerful than self-confidence to start multiplying your income by 2, by 3, by 5, by 10. It comes from self-esteem. Doing the things you know you should do, and at the end of this day, your self-esteem is soaring and high.
If you make it to the end of this video, I want you to write this. The world is an empty canvas waiting on new thoughts to think. And it's on us, creative visionaries. It's on us to create those thoughts. You pop up with the vision and the idea, and everybody monkey see, monkey do. They all fall in line. They want to do exactly what you did. What is that vision? What is that idea that you're sitting on? What is that dream that showed up to you and only you?
You have to have everything you want written. If you do not have it written down, your chances of it happening is reduced drastically because it's a principle of success.
The day that you start living your life according to everybody else's opinion, is the beginning of the end. Most of y'all don't actually know your self-worth. You don't know your self-value. So you're like a vulnerable little child. You're shaking, and it's like, everybody loves me this week, so I love me this week. Next week, it drops. So now you're running around insecure and not loving yourself, sad and depressed, based on the feedback, the responses, and the energy that the rest of the world is giving you. If you allow your self-worth to be based on what other people think of you, is the beginning of the end. I love me. So the day that you decide to stop loving me, I'm not gonna love myself any less. I believe in me. If you stop believing in me, I'm not gonna believe in myself any less. If you believe that I'm irrelevant and that I don't mean anything to the world, that no one is checking for me, because you think or believe that about me, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna believe it about myself.
You can protect yourself from negativity. And that's what stops most people, negative thoughts. You can coat your mind from negativity. It's a real simple exercise to do. I do it every morning before I walk out the door. So I walk out as a positive person. You know, I get tired sometimes. That's different from being negative. But to coat your mind from negativity is with one simple thing, gratitude. Gratitude erases negativity. If you wake up in the morning and you start having negative thoughts, man, this ain't my day. I'm tripping, I just don't feel myself. Every time you feel, in the middle of the day, if you feel yourself doing that, stop, just stop for a second and start going over in your mind everything you have to be grateful for. Not everything you want, everything you already have, because what you have is substantial. The fact that you woke up, that's another blessing. The fact that you can see, think, reason, that's another blessing. The fact that you have an opportunity to get it right is another blessing. The fact that you have any measure of health, that's another blessing. And I'm just talking to you, I don't even know you. I could give you 50 things you ought to be grateful for right now. I don't even know you. Start coating your mind with gratitude. It'll change everything for you.
That peace that we're after lies somewhere beyond personality, beyond the perception of others, beyond invention and disguise, even beyond effort itself. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory. Our eyes are not viewers. They're also projectors that are running a second story over the picture that we see in front of us all the time. Fear is writing that script, and the working title is, I'll Never Be Enough. And don't worry if you miss your cue, because there's always doors opening. They keep opening. And when I say life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, I'm just making a conscious choice to perceive challenges as something beneficial so that I can deal with them in the most productive way. You'll come up with your own style. That's part of the fun. Oh, and why not take a chance on faith as well?
You spend your life performing for a crowd, it'll kill you. And you're like, I'm good. I'm not a singer. I don't perform for people. It's gotten much deeper than that now. It's the feeling that we get when we start offering ourselves up in a form that is more impressive to people, but is not authentic to us. Is the mode that we all get tempted to get into when we start trying to bring a version of ourselves to a situation that we think will make a good impression. Sometimes you can really be functioning in a role, but deep down feel like you are not really capable and you are not really worthy of the role. And so when people give you a compliment, you can't even receive it because it feels like they're talking about somebody else. Because you know so much about yourself that you explain away your strengths and wallow in your weaknesses. It's called imposter syndrome or fraudulence complex.
The day that you allow the opinions of the outside world to dictate the way you feel about yourself, it is the beginning of the end of you living a blessed and self-loving, secure life. Love yourself. Love yourself. Believe in yourself, independent of the validation of the world. Have opinions and feelings about yourself, independent of the feedback. Why you gotta have somebody calling you beautiful every day in order for you to feel beautiful? Do you believe that you're beautiful? Or do you only believe you're beautiful when other people say that you're beautiful? I'm just asking. Self-love is the cure to self-hate. If you make it to the end of this video, I want you to write, self-love is the cure to self-hate. These are the type of qualities that I'm going and have been instilling in my daughter. There is no man that you could ever meet, Shayla, that can make you feel more amazing than what you're supposed to feel about yourself. Nobody wants to be alone. But if you show up empty, as an empty shell, and you're expecting this man to fulfill you and fill you up with all of the love that doesn't exist, because as soon as he leaves, you're depleted, you're empty, and you have nothing left for yourself again. Never rely or depend on anybody to fulfill your heart. I love me even if you stop loving me. I'm amazing when you don't think I'm amazing. You can say the nastiest, meanest, evilest shit that you could ever conjure up. It will never change the way I feel about myself. I'm telling you, that's the way I live my life. That's how I feel about me.
It's something in me that says, I need to do this. So that's the first voice. But we've trained ourselves to ignore this voice and listen to the second voice that I believe is a collection of the average society. It's what we learned. It's the practical voice, the should voice. Whenever you say I should do, where are you getting that from? What society says. Well, we forget society's kind of crazy. There's a lot of unhappy people there, a lot of addictions, a lot of stuckness. It's like, why are we using them as the bellwether that we should get our advice from, right? So this first voice goes, I think we should do this. And we go right to this voice that says why we shouldn't. So for instance, there's many people that feel guilty about something. If you actually go to your heart, you can understand at a true level why you could have done something like that. Everyone can. But what causes our pain is trying to get society to understand why we did something. But the collective society isn't at a consciousness where they've forgiven themselves for anything. So there's a lot of judgment you'll look at in yourself if you look at yourself through society's eyes.
The labor, the work. Some people go for affirmations, but see, I do believe in affirmations, but here's the key on affirmations, and that is to affirm the truth. Affirm the truth. If you're broke, best thing to affirm is, I am broke. You put that up on the refrigerator where you can see it every day. It'll drive you to sign up for a class to learn a skill so that this doesn't happen anymore. Now, if that doesn't do it, reaffirm and put this up there. I'm 40 and broke. That's a lot more alarming. Something might be wrong with your philosophy, your policy, your plan, and your strategy. So, affirm, yes, but always affirm the truth. Here's what the old prophet said. The truth will set you free. Now, here's the freedom of the truth. Number one, freedom of the truth. To correct old errors in judgment. That's the freedom of the truth. Because if you don't speak the truth, then you're likely not to correct the errors in judgment. If something's wrong, but you say, hey, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, how are you going to correct the errors in judgment that made it wrong? So you can't say it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, and finally it turns out to be fine. Say, no. The only way to go from wrong to fine is not by affirmation. The way to go from wrong to fine is to figure out where the errors in judgment were by speaking the truth. Something's wrong here, finding out what's wrong, making the changes. Now it can go from wrong to fine. Here's a good phrase. Affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. Now here's what else the truth does. First, it sets you free to correct old errors in judgment. Here's what else it does. Helps you to set up new, easy disciplines. To turn wrong into right. To turn lack into prosperity, to turn skepticism into faith. But in order to turn wrong into right, we must speak the truth. Because only the truth will set you free. Free to correct an error in judgment. Because here's the formula for failure and here's the formula for success. The formula for failure, number one, a few errors in judgment repeated every day. We call that the formula for failure. A few errors in judgment repeated every day. Now, why would you repeat an error in judgment the second day? Reason: failure doesn't occur at the end of the first day. If it did, it would be helpful, because then you wouldn't do that anymore. But errors in judgment are so subtle because they don't usually show their results until for a while. But a few errors in judgment repeated every day, and sure enough, you're way off course. Now, here's all you got to do to turn that around. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. A few simple disciplines practiced every day starts to create success. Not at the end of the first day. The first day is the end of a new beginning. The first day. That you've started a new track. That you've started a new direction. So we must all speak the truth. So affirm the truth. Yes, affirm God is good. Yes, affirm life is full of possibilities. Yes, affirm all the truthful possibilities. But you don't need to try to trick yourself into saying something is okay when it isn't okay. Some people say every day in every way I'm getting better and better. And if that's not true, see, that we call that delusion. If it's not true. If it is true, then it's wonderful. It's fabulous. We should celebrate. But if it's not true, every day in every way I'm getting better and better. See, if that's not true, then it is an affirmation that's destructive. So just affirm the truth. The truth is I lack some skills to multiply my income by 10, which I wish to do in the future. I need to learn the skills. Affirm that you don't have the skills, so that it'll drive you to get the skills because you want to multiply your income by 10. Yes, it is true. All things are possible to the believer. It is true. Errors in judgment lead to devastation. It's exhausted sometimes in laboring with words to get your vocabulary out there where it touches someone's consciousness so that they can see something they've never seen before. And we call that miracle stuff. I don't know how it works. You don't need to know how it works. All you need is a simple analysis like this. But the labor takes the idea, supported by faith, translate it into labor, and it starts producing all kinds of miracle. So now you can understand that you are a miracle worker. Would a miracle worker sleep late? I doubt it. Unique thing about genius. Genius has no sense of time. It's amazing. If you could have met Michelangelo and, you get there and it's like 11 o'clock. It's like midnight. And you said to Michelangelo, isn't it a little late? And Michelangelo would say, late? What's this late? What does that mean, late? I don't understand late. To a genius, it's not late. To the average person, it's getting late. But to a genius, it's not late. Say, well, Michelangelo, I'll meet you here in the morning and watch you get started. And you got to get there at 4 o'clock. You say, it's really early. And Michelangelo says, early? What's early? I don't understand this. What's this early? It doesn't compute early. Not to a genius. Because the genius is consumed by the finished product. And he devotes his imagination and his faith translated into muscle to produce the sculpture. Now, you can do that with your health. Health is just as valuable as the sculpture that inspires the world. Your own education, your own future, your own career, your own relationships, building a hotel, creating success, making a fortune. It's all part of the same scheme of imagination, faith, supported by labor. And now, all things are possible to those that believe.